Blue Protocol is an upcoming anime MMO that a lot of people were extremely excited for up until we found out that it was going to be heavily censored. But now we're finding out that not only is it censored in the West, but also on PlayStation in Japan. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So I wanted to start off with this Niche Gamer article. It says Blue Protocol is being censored for PlayStation users, even those located in Japan. Now, of course, whenever you hear censorship and PlayStation together, you're not going to be all that surprised because Sony forces a lot of censorship on developers. But it might not be Sony's fault this time because we have found out over the past couple of months really how much censorship this game is going to feature. I mean, even video game journalists were defending it, saying things like the Western release won't have a physics shake button, and some are crying censorship. Yeah, because it is censorship. You initially promised us a certain product, you initially showed us the final product, and then you decided that you were going to remove features like this. Of course, people are going to be furious, but we had previously heard that Amazon Games was going to be censoring this, and they doubled and tripled down. Because, of course, why wouldn't they? But it says it's no secret that the Western version is being censored, especially after Amazon Games audaciously stood by their decision to offer a censored product. I mean, they faced a massive amount of backlash over this, and they still didn't listen to consumers. They still did not change their mind, even though they were facing tons of, people saying that they were not going to play this game because of censorship. They just did not care. However, console manufacturers Sony appears to prefer. It's worth mentioning that Sony is based in California and not Japan. Well, I mean, Sony Interactive Entertainment is based in California and they handle the PlayStation division while other parts of Sony are in Japan. And it says Japanese users quickly noticed the censored version available through PlayStation and posted screenshots comparing the two. It seems at this point that what it comes down to is they did not want to regionize the game, so that means they're just gonna go for the tamest and most sanitized version they can because it'll fit into every region, and that is the version of the game that they are launching, plain and simple. And it is so sad to see because this was a game that so many people were excited for and that we had so many big, hopes for. While yes, people do get very nervous when it comes to anime titles now, potentially facing censorship, we still wanted to be relatively excited for it because you want to get excited for games that look pretty good. And this one did seem to be, not featuring censorship up until they decided magically one day to announce that yes, it was actually going to be censored. And then, of course, Amazon Games stood by the censorship, and then we just figured it was going to be in the West, but now we do know that the Japanese version of the game is also toned down, and it's just unfortunate because, again, we see so many titles that get announced, the teasers and the trailers look really good, and they do seem to be featuring fan service, whether, it's upskirt shots or just characters having, larger body proportions in certain areas, or the outfits, and then by the time the release actually comes around, we can see exactly how they butchered it. And yes, it is censorship. When you're, toning down costumes or you're getting rid of something as simple as a physics shake button, it is censorship. I know that there will be some people out there who will say, oh, it's just one or two minor things, but those minor things add up to be very big issues, and it is important to call them out because one day, one of your favorite franchises, whether it's a movie or a video game, could potentially be censored, and you don't want that. You do not want, products to be censored. We are adults that can consume the product that we want to consume. And of course, it's just never acceptable to say, well, it's just a little bit of censorship. That is not okay. There should be zero censorship in our entertainment. And like I mentioned, there were even journalists only a few months ago defending defending the censorship that we had heard about. This was from GameSpot, but it says Blue Protocol's Western release won't have a physics shake button, and some are crying censorship. Yes, it is censorship when you remove a feature that you originally showed consumers, you promised consumers would be in the game. Even something as small as a physics shake button is going to get called out and does matter. It says the upcoming anime MMORPG, Blue Protocol, isn't coming to the West until 2024. By the way, we still do not have an official, set in stone release date, but it says, and publisher Amazon Games has now outlined some of the changes that would be in it. And then we found out that, of course, the physics shake was going to be, removed. And then the franchise lead had said that the changes to the game are coming from a cultural, legal, and regulatory perspective. So it seemed like they really wanted this game to hit that T for teen rating by the ESRB, that's what they were really worried about. But there are games where you have a T for T rating, but the characters still have like jiggle physics, because that is just almost a level of realism. Like, our bodies are not, rocks that stay in one position all the time. Like, when I'm moving my hand, it's going to move in a certain way. If you jump up and down, certain body parts of yours are going to move in certain ways. But of course, they just view that as like ridiculous content or sexual content in a way, even though, again, there are games that do have jiggle physics that are rated T for teen. They could have just removed the button but kept the physics, and there wouldn't be any complaint about that. But of course, they want to come out and they want to seem like they really care about their audiences and, culturally respecting the differences between Japan and the West. But now we're finding out that it's also censored in Japan. The PlayStation version is also censored in Japan. There are reports that the Xbox version allegedly features a little bit less censorship, but we have no official confirmation on that, right? I have not seen any screenshots. I have not seen any videos, so I cannot confirm that. It would be interesting to see if that happened, though, but right now, we at least know that the PlayStation version is censored in Japan. The Western release is going to be censored whenever they finally come out with it, because it has been delayed, and only time will tell if this game is good or not. I mean, again, I know a lot of people were initially excited for it, and if you want to play it, of course, go ahead and play it when it releases. It is a video game, and that is your right. I am unfortunately very disappointed with the decisions they've made, and after the way that this franchise lead acted and basically talked down to consumers, and they completely brushed off our concerns about censorship, I know I personally have lost my interest that I initially had for this title, and it's just sad to see another game being censored. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, and of course found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.